The Nerdy Birdy, written by Danielle Wheeldon, illustrated by David Snowdon. Sitting in a classroom chair was Ned, a brainy birdie, who, it's very fair to say, was more than a little nerdy. He knew tricky sums, useful facts, and plenty of big words. In fact, he knew the most out of all the other birds. But even though young Ned was interesting and smart, he had a lot of sadness inside his birdie heart. The other birds at school were mean. They laughed at his thick glasses and the way he paid attention in every one of his classes. Why did he get mocked and teased for being bright and clever? He often wondered to himself, will it be like this forever? He hoped more than anything that one day he'd have some friends other than his calculator, his notebooks, and his pens. The meanest one of all the birds was Billy, the bully birdie. He was cruel, and instead of one, he had the strength of 30. Billy was being extra mean on one particular day. He snatched Ned's glasses, snapped them in half, and with tears, poor Ned ran away. That day, a storm came rolling in. It was loud, dark, and frightening, with flooding rain and thunderclaps and forks of scary lightning. Billy was caught in the raging storm. This was dangerous, he knew. But on he went, and with each step, the more wild the storm grew. The storm raged on, and suddenly a giant tree branch snapped. It landed on scared Billy, and the bully became trapped. He tried his best to be brave, but despite being big and tough, the branch was just too heavy. His strength was not enough. Billy couldn't free himself and soon let out a yelp. He filled the freezing forest air with cries that echoed, "Help!" Ned was busy fixing his glasses at his safe nest nearby. But as soon as he heard Billy scream, he left his nest and began to fly. Despite how he'd been treated, the courageous birdie knew that helping out the bully was the proper thing to do. It wasn't long before Ned arrived, and using his super smart brain, he looked around and came up with a plan. He would try to make a crane. Using some branches, imagination, and equations he'd learned at school, before he knew it, clever Ned had created a life-saving tool. In just a matter of seconds, the rescue mission was complete. Little Ned had saved the day. The crane had worked a treat. Billy couldn't believe it. He was speechless and amazed. His enemy had helped him. He was free. He'd been saved. Billy's wing was broken. One leg bent back in pain. But heroic Ned picked him up and helped him through the rain. When the others heard of the rescue and how bold the smart bird had been, It was clear to them Ned was a hero, the bravest bird they'd ever seen. Ned had known there'd come a day when he'd prove the others wrong and show that everyone is different. In their own way, they are strong. Since that moment, clever Ned felt a love he'd never known. That little nerdy birdie no longer felt alone. The end.